Welcome to the I Jupiter podcast live. And today, my first episode, I have one of the big names in the scene, Mr. Ron Morehead, the person who recorded the Sierra sounds, the infamous Sierra sounds that have been brought to scientists and have been proven not to be human voices. And today, he's going to come on and promote his new book, Bigfoot Unveiled. And from the bottom of my heart, this is a big honor for me. Welcome to the Hour Jupiter podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ron Morehead.
Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate that introduction.
Thank you for coming on, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure. I love to do this stuff.
I do too, Ron. That's why I do it.
Yeah. It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ron, for the viewers of the Hour Jupiter podcast, please do us a big favor and let everyone know a little bit about yourself, where they can find you, and anything that you would like to promote, of course.
Well, all right. I'm responsible for the Sierra sounds, recording the Sierra sounds, which has been scientifically studied. It's the voices of what we call Bigfoot, and they actually have a language, and I've established that positively through science and studies. I was in the Sierra Mountains of California, and about 8,400 feet elevation, 8 miles into the wilderness. Very imposing camp when these things are coming into us. A hunting camp, so nobody was looking for Bigfoot. But they started coming back. We started going up and taking tape recorders and recorded their vocalizations. Had them studied by the University of Wyoming by a professor of electrical engineering, showing that they were legitimate. They hadn't been pre-made, speeded up, slowed down, or nothing like that. And they represented something 8 foot tall, at least the one that he focused on. But we recorded hours of these things really over the years. It wasn't just one time. So it's quite exciting. And that's how I got involved. I started studying this and getting further along and looking into what they are and where they came from. Because giants like that aren't supposed to be around. Because there were some that's over 8 foot up there. We know that.
Wow. So you did this, I believe I've been swamped with work. I'm sure you are too, sir. You did this recording way back in 1971. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Wow.
They've been around for 50 years.
Yeah, that's longer than I've been alive. I was born in 1980. So how did this, I mean, I know you've probably told this story many, many times. So how did you, so your friend was hunting, I believe, and he started hearing. So how did this all come to pass?
Okay, there's been a hunting camp since 1958 by the Johnson brothers, who are not with us anymore, but they in 1971 went up there just to check out the camp, and they're a little haven. They loved it because it's so pristine, so nice once you get there. Very imposing to get there, but once you get there, it's really nice. And these things came around the camp that night and started making these sounds, and they took some food that the Johnson brothers had left out. And at first they thought it might have been a bear, but then they realized the sounds are not like a bear, and they wouldn't go out of the little shelter that we had, that they had up there built, which is just a group of trees in a circle with deadfall laying around them, and built up so you couldn't see out, and a little protection from the weather. And anyway, they went out later when all the commotion stopped from this, more than one, by the way. There's 2 or 3 of them up there at the time. And they saw this huge track in the mud. And they realized then there's something else up here, some kind of a monster. They didn't know what, because they weren't looking for Bigfoot at all. And they came out and told the other guys, which there was 5 of them altogether, and 6, well, there was 6, but one of them got scared off when he went back up. That's how I got involved. But I wasn't a hunter. Well, I wasn't a hunter at the time. I just was part of the family, or not. All were friends of mine. And when one came out, he got scared off the next morning after he heard it, when they all went back up to see what was going on. He went out and just left him a note. He said, "I'm out of here." And he was actually, everybody's in there with their guns. I mean, they had guns ready to shoot their way out if they had to, if these things that came in after them. Because the sounds they were hearing were very, 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 very aggressive. And they didn't know what to think. They were scared for their life, really. He came out and said that what the Johnson brothers were saying was true. There is some kind of a monster up there, and there's more than one. And so the wives, they didn't come. The other guys didn't come out when they were supposed to the next day. And the wives were worried, and they said, "You got to go back up and see if these guys are all right. We don't know what to do." He wasn't going to go by himself. So he, that's your phone?
Not mine. Not my phone.
Not mine either.
That's my lady's phone. Just my lady's phone. Yeah, no big deal.
So anyway,
she's working too. She's working too. She's got work today.
I went up with him, and that's how I got involved. I seen the track. I heard what they had recorded, and anyway, I started going back as often as I could when I could find someone to go with me, and one of those guys. And that's how I got involved. And in 1971, 72, the winter, we got snowed out. You can't get in there in the wintertime. And we contacted a guy named Ivan Sanderson, who was a cryptozoologist back east somewhere. And he thought it was a hoax, probably somebody pulled his leg, because nobody has encounters like that at all. And nobody ever reported him like that anyway. So he sent his letter to a guy named Peter Byrne, who on the West Coast, in Oregon, who had our Bigfoot research. Peter thought it was probably somebody pulling his leg too, but he went ahead and followed it up with a man named Alan Berry, who was in California, not just a few hours away from where we lived. And Alan Berry asked if he could interview us. And he came down. We let him listen to the sounds and saw a couple pictures we took of the tracks, and he wanted to go in. So we took him in 1972. And he had a science degree and master's in science, let's put it that way. He was a newspaper investigator at the time. And he was also looking for a hoax. Everybody thought this was somebody's pulling somebody's leg. But once he got up there and started looking around, started searching our packs when we were out walking and all this, I didn't know all this until later when I read the correspondence between him and the other guys. And he got wrapped up in it, and finally wrote a book too in 1976 or 70. Anyway, he wrote about what he went through trying to get somebody to look at these sounds unbiasedly. So he found a sound engineer, actually a PhD in electrical engineer at the University of Wyoming, and he studied the sounds that Al had recorded, because Al started recording them too up there in 72. And he studied them and said that what I said before, they represent somebody over 8 foot tall. And he showed in a graph in a paper they wrote, which he presented later on to a bunch of academia, that they were inside, outside, below, and above the average human range of talking. Wow. And very unique. And he left it at that, and that's all it. We thought that was good enough, but academia wouldn't fall for that. It has to be a primate that's undiscovered. It has to be a great ape of some kind that got loose from a zoo. That's what they think. They still think that today. Some of them do. But anyway, he fostered the sounds and got somebody to study them, and that was Professor Curlin at the University of Wyoming. Then it was in 2008 when a cryptolinguist got a hold of him by accident, trained by the military to listen to codes, listen to unknown languages, and see if it was a language, see if there's any scrupulous and goings on in the language. And he was supposed to. That's what he did. He retired from the Navy as a cryptolinguist and went to work as a teacher for foreign languages at a college and started teaching foreign language. He heard the sounds by accident on the internet one time, and he drove all the way out from Missouri to California to interview us to find out the context of it and ask if he could study them too, because he thought he heard something like a language in there. Well, he got them, and he said he studied them. He said there is a language there, a very complex language. That puts it in a whole nother ballpark.
Yeah.
Because only humans, according to Dr. Lieberman at Brown University, cognitive research scientist, only humans have the vocal mechanism, the hyoid bone goes into the tongue, into the brain, so we can talk sapient talk like we're talking now. Nobody on the face of no other animal, no other primate, no anything has that except supposedly humans. So to me, that puts them in a human category. They have a human component to them, let's say, which that starts me researching back, because I was raised religiously in churches, and I knew scriptures. So I first started searching the Bible to see if there was anything. And I read about the Nephilim and different parts of that, and all that. But it wasn't getting the answers that I wanted. So anyway, I've been researching now for 50 years, been around the planet pretty much, in Nepal and into Siberia, Bolivia. I've been into different places.
Okay. So a question. So these 1971, when you were up there in the Sierra Mountains, this happened. I think it's about 4 to 5 years after Bluff Creek, the Patty Gimlin film. How far away is that from the location you were recording?
It's a few hundred miles. It's in the
really not that far then. Honestly, that's not even that far. A couple hours.
Well, it's more than that driving, because you got to go up Highway 99 through the redwoods and go way up there, or go up Highway 5 and cut across through the mountains, or the Marble Mountains. And we're in the Sierra Mountain Range, which is a different mountain range.
Okay, so if you don't mind, Mr. Morehead, I'm going to play. It's a short clip of, I don't know exactly which parts or which time, because I know there's multiple different occasions you went up there. I'm going to play that real quick for the people so they know what we're talking about.
Okay. Right there, I just seen movement right through there. Okay. You played 2 of them 2 years apart.
Yeah, I know. I grabbed them yesterday, and I know there's a very specific one that they play on the Sasquatch Chronicles with Les Moreland. And I know there's a very specific one called the Samurai Chatter. But at the end on the second recording, were you and whoever else was recording with you, were you trying to like invoke or respond to these
Yes.
Bigfoot?
Yeah, it was 2 years after the first ones, which were very aggressive in 72. And these were done in 74 when we got into camp, and somehow they were there when we got to camp, and it started getting dark on us. That's when they started making their popping sounds and whooping sounds. And we had learned from previous years just to ignore them when they come in closer. And that's what happened that night. And there was one up behind me, did the samurai cry. And that's a view I got.
Oh, that's what that's called, the samurai cry. Okay.
That's what they call it, because it was coined that by Matt Moneymaker years ago when he started to be a FRO.
So
And
you were saying that you've been around the world. So what other places do these Bigfoot or subsector I don't know what you would call it. There's many different types, of course. So where else are they? I know they're in Europe and I know they're in Asia, but they're also in Bolivia, South America.
they reported just about everywhere in the world. I mean,
Kidding.
every country's got the name for them. The Urin in Australia and the Yeti in Nepal. You got the Wild Man in Siberia, and that's where I was a few years ago searching for him. And I've been there, and it's been quite an adventure. But I haven't encountered anything like I've encountered in the Sierra Mountains, and
Wow.
hadn't recorded anything because I'm not trying to record anymore. I wasn't trying to record when I was going to those places. I was just talking to people about them, and that's what I was doing in those other countries. Nepal, I was really looking for lion tracks and tiger tracks more than I was the Yeti.
Yeah, or jaguar tracks like where I live. I mean, literally, I don't know, 100 yards, 200 yards off my property. I mean, I got jaguar tracks. Yeah, but have you heard of any Bigfoot in this part of the world where I'm living? I haven't heard of anything.
No, there's some down in not Bigfoot. They call them different things.
Right.
They got different names for them all over. There's like 600 different names for them, different countries.
Maybe Duende, maybe that's what they call them.
Sounds reasonable. Yeah, I've heard that.
Maybe I have to check into that. That might also be a shapeshifter. I'm not quite sure.
I've heard that before.
So let's talk about your. I'm sorry, Ron. Let's talk about your new book. Why a new book? What is this? What is this all about? Let's hear.
Well, let's start over. Let's start first. My first
All right.
book is this one behind me. Okay, see it right there.
Kind of, yes, sure.
Voices in the Wilderness. It's my chronicle. I came out with that years ago, and it talks about the timing of everything, how it came to be, and in it, it's got a link in it which you can download the sounds and hear the sounds I'm talking about when I get to the context of them. And then it's been pretty popular, but the most popular one so far has been this one here, Quantum Bigfoot, because it gets into the science behind the mysteries behind these things, why they haven't been found, and it gets into. Al Berry had a master's degree in science, guy that went in, investigate.
Yes.
He said, whatever you do, stay with science up here. Don't talk about the strange stuff, because a lot of strange stuff goes on up there. And I saw a UFO up there one time and didn't talk about that for a long time. But there's also sounds that you can't put a finger on, just a whirling sound that you hear in the daytime. You can't find the source of it. One time we thought our shelter was being tore apart out there. We went outside the doorway and nothing had changed. Well, how do you do that? One time, we're 8 miles in the wilderness. There's no trails up there, nothing. So one time I heard a car door slam. How does that work? There's no car door up there. These things have a very expansive vocal mechanism. I mean, just the range is unbelievable. We don't know how high they go because we were recording anything but cassette recorders back then. And those are the little bitty ones, cassette recorders, in case you didn't know. So we don't know how low they go. I'm quite sure they go into infrasound and ultrasound above us too. But we have to realize as humans that we don't see all the frequencies. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, and that's what this book here is all about. Is a quantum science. And it's not hard to find, but Newtonian science is what our brain has been conditioned in. Everything is what your senses can feel, touch, smell, all that stuff.
Right. So I think you were figuring, well, since this is the way in which people understand, I'll go from that angle to bring them into something they've never heard or discovered before. I think that's a very smart and wise way to do it.
Well, they don't teach quantum science in schools unless you take the course in college or someplace.
Right.
They said they didn't when I was a kid, which is 100 years ago. But it was it's just. It's just that it answers a lot of the questions of the woo-woo factor, the paranormal factor, because people see these things disappear. They see these things. How come you can't find a body? How come they're so elusive? How come science academia hasn't got a hold of it yet? Those things are kind of answered in that book. And then I expound on it in my new book, which I just released about 2 weeks ago. And It's called Bigfoot Unveiled. And is that backwards in your screen, or is that?
No, that's perfect. I can read it just fine.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I can read it just fine. It is.
Well,
I do
I
have
get
the
in.
ability. Go ahead, sir.
I just carried on a little bit further with the quantum science, and
Sure.
I'm signing those books. I'm selling them this weekend at the Hamlet convention in North Carolina. I'll be
All right.
there.
Go out there and see Ron. There you go, guys.
And then 2 weeks from there, third or fourth of the end of this month, end of May. No, beginning of May.
End of April.
I'll be in. This is April, isn't it? Yeah, I lose track.
Yes. Not me too. Me too.
At the end of April, 1st of May. Excuse me, the 4th of May. I'm gonna get this down.
We'll
I
get
got it on my
there.
calendar. 4th of May, I'm going to be in Knoxville, Tennessee, at
All
a
right.
place called Townsend, just out of Knoxville. I'll be presenting there amongst several hundred people, probably several thousand. It's an outdoor event, festival, they call it, Bigfoot Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have my books there too. But
So
anyway,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. What I was going to try to ask you is, what's the difference between your quantum book and this new book? What is
this just
how is
carries on.
your approach? Okay.
This carries on because I didn't have the answer to how they become invisible.
Okay.
I got it. I
You
didn't
got
have
it
the
now.
answer. I think I do.
Okay.
I think I do. I also got a chapter on AI, artificial intelligence, in here. I got a chapter on levitation, different things like that. Let me just read some of the stuff I got in here.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, anyway, how much time do we have?
We have 40 minutes, but we can stay as long as you like.
Well, I'm passing up the page here someplace.
So don't worry about it. In the meantime, I'll play some elevator music in the background. You know.
No, I'll get it. That's okay. I'll get it. No, I got the Manifestation Code of Tesla. You know who Nikola Tesla was?
Yes, absolutely
Yeah.
do.
He's my hero, and I quote him quite a bit. And
I
everything
always
is,
found him to be extremely fascinating person.
yeah, he says,
Yes.
you understand the universe. If you can understand 3, 6, and 9, you'll understand the universe. I think I got that one. It's in the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey,
So,
now I'm interested. You got all right.
also, how they cloak. How do they disappear? Can anything disappear? We only see within 430 and 770 terahertz. That's our light frequency. Everything from you to me to everything, the table, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. At the most minute level of everything, we are energy vibrating at a frequency. Well, that can change, and that has been proven. By the way, let me back up just a tad more. Einstein said you find the frequency of anything and change its matter, because matter and energy are interchangeable. Now, that's
Right.
hard. You can't see energy, but you can see particles. And that was a Nobel Prize in 1933 was given to Dr. Paul Dirac for antimatter. Antimatter is a direct exchange between energy and matter and energy. They're interchangeable. It was proven in 2012 by CERN at the Hadron Collider when they changed a particle into energy. They sensed the energy, but they couldn't see it. And that's what happens. So if they can find the frequency via their massive vocal mechanism, which is much superior to us, we cannot do the sounds that they can do. If they can find the frequency, they can change their matter into energy, and they would disappear from our visual perspective.
Oh, so this kind of bridges the gap, because I'm sure you're well aware of that. For some reason, there's this quote unquote, it's not even, I hate these words, but there's like a civil war between people who are like, they cloak and they come from portals, and people who are like, no, it's this. And I think, sir, you are going at it at a very, very good and admirable approach to try to bring these two together. I tried to go through the concept of, hey, we're all people, we're all trying to figure this phenomenon out together. Why can't we just get along? But I think this approach is a very good one, and I think it's commendable.
Thank you. That's exactly my goal, is to bridge that gap between the two. Because if people can open their brain, this conditioned brain that we have up here, this box that we've been trained in, it's all been taught what's right and what's wrong. And that's what we go by in our life. And it's all based on Newtonian physics, which is 1687. But if you get into quantum physics, which is just a little over 100 years, it takes you out of that brain set, because you realize there's other things going on that you don't see We don't see all these other frequencies that go on. We only see within the range I told you about a minute ago. And a bear can smell 20 times better than what our olfactory sense will let us. A dog can smell 7 times. But what I'm getting at is we don't hear ultrasound or infrasound, either one, but a dog can hear ultrasound, and large animals, communicate in infrasound. So a lot of people say they were frozen out of the woods. How does that happen? Well, it can happen through infrasound if these things emit infrasound, which I'm pretty sure they do. I've been frozen a couple of times myself at our camp. You don't know how to explain it. You just stop like a force field. And a lot of strange things goes on. Why can't you find a body? How come? Well, I'm not sure we haven't found bodies. I think our government knows about it. I think that if they can control the narrative, if they can control what's going on, and they don't know how to, they will either make fun of it or hide it or get rid of it some way. And that's truth from the weather balloon in Roswell, New Mexico.
Okay, what do you think the government's involvement is in this, Ryan? Because I would think they'd have to know that these things exist.
They do. Like I say, they can't control it. And they don't want the word out what they are, because I believe they're a hybrid. They're like we are. Something's messed with the genome of primate in the past. I think they were here a lot of them were here a long time before we were as Homo sapiens. And aliens, I'm going to get right into it. Aliens are here. We all know that. And it's kind of commonplace down there in Mexico.
Yes. Oh, especially right here. Right here. I think there was an episode in 2006 where the Mexican Air Force was recording right off the coast here in Campeche, and we were just like, whoa, so.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, aliens are here. I think they've been here for eons and eons. They have messed with the genome of different species on this planet.
Okay.
Primate's one of them, and that's where Bigfoot came from. Giants, they were giants, and like it was in the days of Noah, the Bible says, as it was in the days of Noah, so should it also be in the second coming. Well, bam, here we got giants, we got aliens, we got everything, fallen angels, we already call them. So we're in some very interesting times here.
Yeah.
I think everybody should be aware of how important they are, and I try to mention that too all the time I talk. It's very important that we understand that we are Homo sapiens. We are very unique because they didn't get the primate they wanted when they created the Bigfoots, but we have been created our genome from a species has been manipulated to give us our sapience, our intuitiveness, our special abilities that did not evolve like Darwin says. Darwin's method of it's just incomplete, and something has changed the hominid from a long time ago, and that's who we are. But we're very special because we've been given dominion on this planet. But you get into aliens. I started, like I said, I studied the Bible quite a bit when I was growing up and younger, but now I study spirituality more because we are spiritual beings. I'm not religious anymore, but we're all spiritual beings, whether we like it or not.
That's where I am, Ron.
Yeah, we got to energy, which we're made of, right?
Yes, sir.
We're all made of energy, cannot die.
It's true. It can only change.
Right, it changes form.
Transfer.
If you are religious, you can go to heaven, right? That's what they say. If you're a scientist or academia who believes in this, you're just going to change forms. So therefore, I get into multiple embodiments because I think we're here to respond to experiences. That's all life's about, is responding to experiences. Respond to them properly. You're going to raise your own personal vibrational frequency, because you got to change it. You got to get it higher to get out of this density that we're in, this third dimensional density.
I think that's what we're doing. I think
we are.
Yes, I think we're really getting there. I think shows, hopefully like this one and ones that I've been involved in or listened to myself showed me that I could do this, are raising our collective vibration or collective frequency to accept that concept. And I always say this, I think you can't do everything, but the things that you can do, if you do that with great love and intention, you can change the world. And if everyone were to do that, it would be paradise tomorrow. And,
ditto. Very good. You're
Okay.
right on my
All right.
target there.
All right.
I was going
Wow,
to
we
say
were all in it.
the way you change your frequency, the way you change everybody's frequency is with love and compassion. And if you just stay with love and compassion with all your responses, you're going to raise your frequency. You're going to be okay when you do leave this embodiment. If you treat everything like you're a victim or like you're pissed off at this person or that person, you're going to lower your frequency, and you're going to have to learn your lesson somewhere, learn what love and compassion is about, or you're going to have to come back and repeat it until you do another embodiment. And that
Yes.
falls way out of a lot of religions, but it falls right into
Into
more.
some of them. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron, how old are you? How old are you, sir? You're in your 80s, aren't you, sir?
I'm in my 80s. I'm 82.
82 years old. You don't look a day past, like, I would be honest with you, like 65.
Nice.
So I would think that something that you're doing is then correct. So I mean, here's the embodiment of what you're saying right in front of you when you look at yourself in the mirror every day, sir. You know?
Well, thank you for that. But it's really decalcifying your pineal gland, so you can it's a receptor inside your brain. It has to be
Oh,
connected into the. I'm hitting on your target, aren't I?
Ron. We're going to have to come back and talk more about these kind of things after we get this, because we're definitely going to promote this book of yours. And but if you want to talk about the pineal gland and decalcification and opening your third eye and all that, we can definitely get into that too.
Yeah, I do that. I love it. Because without that, you don't have a receptor in your head. It doesn't take light to.
So consciousness is okay, Ron. So consciousness is local, in other words, within, or we are just a receptor of consciousness.
It's put into us when we're made with our DNA. However, we have two types of we have our physical embodiment, which our brain takes care of, but you also have your etherical embodiment, which is the spiritual part, your soul, your consciousness, your energy. Is going to pass on. It can't die. It just changes form. So there's two parts to us, and I think we're not a person walking around with spirituality. We are actually spiritual beings taking care of a body.
Wow. And this came to you later in life, or when was this, like,
it just kind
revelation?
It just flows in. It didn't hit me overnight. I've been studying it.
I know.
But your pineal.
Yes, go, sir. Please.
Something that's more important here. More important stuff right here. See how we're into it. The pineal gland connects to the heart. Your heart is your brain. It's got the brain. There's over 40,000 brain cells in your heart. Your heart knows what's right. That's your gut feeling. When you get a gut feeling something's going on, your brain says, well, but your analytical mind, which has been conditioned, says, no, let's go over there. So very, very important that your brain gets in coherence with your heart. Your heart and brain have to be in that's what meditation is all about. The chakras, yes, balancing those to get your heart and your brain in sequence, because you're going to get that information if you decalcify your pineal. Your receiver will be open more. You'll be more intuitive. Everything will be better for you. You do it through diet and do it through meditation. You do it. You clean that up, and it gets into your heart. Your heart's going to give a message. It's going to have a gut feeling. No, that's not right. Let's go over there. So just listen to your heart. Your heart will tell your brain once you get in coherence what to do, and you'll obey that. Then once you obey it, everything's going to work out better for you all the way through.
Yeah, it's like I guess it would be like the philosophical concept of the true I. The deep down. Once you get past all the layers of, everyday thought, because we are conditioned also to constantly think every day about something, and that's what meditation does. It kind of slows it down and brings you back to the connection that you have with everything and everyone. And
very
I didn't know you were this deep, man.
No, some dumb cowboy with a hat, huh?
No, it kind of threw me off. I got some teeth in there, and I was like, all right, this guy's gonna whip out some guns and stuff. Now, let me ask you a question. I don't know if anyone was there. When you were up there recording this stuff, were you shaking in your boots, Ron?
No.
You seem like a calm guy, and I know I would be. I would definitely be bringing 2 or 3 pair of underwear if I ever go up there with you.
Here's the deal. Some guys were. I knew when I started going up there, they hadn't eaten the guys. They hadn't thrown rocks on them. They hadn't carried away in a sleeping bag. They hadn't done anything malicious. They were just messing with us. So when I went up there, I didn't have the fear factor that that you might have expected. Even though I had a 357 Magnum gun with me, I didn't have the fear factor because nobody knew. They said you need to carry a gun in case you need to protect one of us. So anyway, fear is your enemy. And I've learned when going anywhere, just control the fear and don't have fear about anything because you're going to be okay no matter what if your vibration's good. So fear is what negativity feeds on. Everything feeds on fear. Religions feed on fear. Government feeds on fear. I mean, I was down in Tennessee a few weeks ago.
Ron, you are killing it, because not only are we talking about something from the past of 50 years ago and coming forward. I'm sure you've done a lot of research between now and then, but we're talking about current times and the way they're trying to make us hate each other for no reason. And I think this is a very powerful message that you're talking about right now. And
I think so.
yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. We're a warring species. That's just what we are.
Yeah.
We want to hurt people. You got to stop hurting people. This whole earth is trying to change its vibration, trying to get higher and more out of the third dimension. And it's not going to happen until the majority of people.
Welcome to Mexico, Ron. That's outside the window. There's nothing I can do about it. If we're on here for another 2 hours, you start hearing the pizza guy come by and the ice cream guy come by. It's pretty cool, man. But sometimes I'm trying to sleep, trying to get, because I gotta go tomorrow. I gotta go out in the middle of nowhere in the deepest, darkest part of the jungle here in the Yucatan and put us some solar panels. I'm gonna be sleeping out there with a hammock and everything. So I'm going to be enjoying some peace and quiet. But so this noise is going to be. If we would have done it out there, we wouldn't be able to do it. But you would hear howler monkeys instead.
I've been quite a bit around the Yucatan, all those Mayan places, and I've been down in Central America and South America, and I went down to, you know where Chiapas is?
Chiapas. Chiapas is the state of Mexico. Yes.
I went down there and on a Mayan expedition, had to sleep in a hammock. In the hammock, you put I bought one at Big Five up here, which they laughed at when they saw it. I had to buy one down in Oaxaca, which was a good hammock.
Oaxaca. Yes. I got mine's right there on the wall. You can't see because I got a green screen behind me, but I sleep in that thing as much as I possibly can. When I first got here, I thought that people were bats. Like everyone sleeps in a hammock. Yeah. And I got one, and I tell you, for my back, I have a pretty bad back. It's incredible. It saves my back, and I sleep like a baby in them.
We had to tie our boots up on a tree and keep the scorpions off of us. So we up there like that. When we hiked into this jungle about 5 miles from the little Mayan village there, we finally got permission to land over there at this lake, a military dirt strip. Should I stop talking for a while, or is that okay?
No. I'm just trying to keep the noise from my mic in the live feed. I don't know what are they selling? Bread? They're selling bread right now, but they have like a loudspeaker going. So when you're listening to the Eye of Jupiter, you're going to get the whole Mexican experience. After this, we're going to get some salsa and start dancing. But I
love the Mexican people down there. I do.
They're fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, I've been down there so much and scuba diving and different things along the Baja and all the way down the peninsula, all the way down to Cabo. Socorro
just talk as much as you want. I'm trying to muffle the noise.
So much fun. Such good memories I have down there.
Yeah, I got here 2 years ago because they tried to put something in my body that I wouldn't let them do. I was living in Germany. And I was like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. Science doesn't dictate 8 months of studying to put that in my body. And they were like, you have to. And I was like, no. So I bought 10 acres off grid and threw my whole world and just flipped it over. And now I'm down here. And I think it's the best move I've ever made in my life.
Good. Yeah. Keeps your vibration high.
Yes,
You're
sir.
Happy. Good to be happy.
Super happy because the job I was doing, you were talking about that gut feeling in your heart and all that.
Yeah.
Man, when you were saying that, like there was a little bit of, like my throat would coming up a little bit. I was like, Ron knows some shit, man. And I was sick. I was not feeling well in Germany because that's where I was living. And then if you mix what happened with that German mentality. It was very special. Let's put it that way.
Mm.
And then I got here, and everyone was like, "Yeah, we're still, putting on our things on our face, but we're still living. Hey, let's go get a beer. Let's go get a mojito or whatever." What's that drink you drink, baby? I don't like the one with the beer. Cerveza con the michelada. I don't like micheladas. They come in different flavors, and she loves them, but I don't like them.
Okay. What's in it?
What? ¿Qué tiene en michelada? Many things. Salt, lemon, chili, and sauce, and Tabasco sauce, and I don't know. It's a special. Not Maggi, like kind of like Weilers if you liquefy them, for if you mix them into your meat, kind of like that. They have all kind of stuff down there, and I'm starting to eat the really spicy chili here too, like the habanero, and I couldn't touch it when I first got here, but now I can eat it. And she looks at me, she's like, "Oh, you turned into a Mexican." I'm like, "I guess I am."
Good.
So, yeah. So if anyone has a chance to come on down, eventually I'll maybe because I have a bit of property, we can do some stuff down here too. Maybe do some learning and things like that too. I'm thinking about that for sure.
I don't have my own airplane anymore. I've sold it.
Then just take a charter flight, Ron. I'll pick you up from Merida. I'll pick you up. No big deal. If you fly to Cancun, I'll come get you.
Well, stay in touch. How far are you from the major airport?
From a major airport, 2 hours.
Which one?
Merida, I guess we would say in English, Merida. It's the big city in the state of Yucatan. It's like 2 hours north, and then
we'll stay in touch.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. You're for real. All right, Ron. You come on down. You might be sleeping in a tent, dude, but I got you. You're still for 82 years old. You can still go up and down the hills a little bit.
A little bit. I had a brain operation about 8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And they had to remove a tumor from my cerebellum, so it messes my balance a little bit. So I have to use a cane now to walk.
Well, that fits right in with the Mexican music down here. So he's dancing. No worries. Yeah.
I was over in Kathmandu for a while, and you see 3-legged dogs and 1-legged men. Everybody's on a crutch. It's wild.
It is wild, but isn't that life? Isn't that life, Ron? I
wouldn't trade it for nothing.
No. I had to go to the chiropractor yesterday, and he cracked, I think, about 17 times in my back because I was starting to get numb down my right leg. And I was just like, "Oh my God, what am I doing?" He goes, "Oh, so when you first came here, you had stress in your upper body. That's from your mind." He said, "Now it's in your lower body. You must be working." I'm like, "Yes, I am putting solar panels on roofs." He goes, "There you go." So, yeah. So, not to compare it to what happened to you, but still, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's kind of part of the experience. You have to have a little bit of pain sometimes to kind of know what good feels like.
Is that what happens?
Yeah. I think that's what happens, Ron. You're like, you were born in 1941?
42.
42. So you were like double my age. I'm 44. So yeah, you would know a little bit more than I would. So I guess that's what happens.
Well, it's not how long you've been on Earth. It's what
what you do.
I was 29 when this stuff started happening to me up there. And,
yeah. So when you went, have you had any like visual experiences with these creatures?
Yeah. The night I recorded the samurai cry, I seen it running down through the trees. And
still no fear. You were fine.
No, we was having fun that night. Because we thought they were going to come in and let us right on the shoulders or something. And didn't know because they hadn't been hurting us. Well, they hadn't been hurting us, but they were. I think the big male that was behind me up there, behind us, me and my friend were there, just the two of us. And I think he was getting excited about how the young one. It was a young one and a mother, we think, down there at the creek. And the young one was trying to, I think, get a little bold. I think that was upsetting the dad. That's my theory because of the action that was going on between them. And shot down there. But she was coming down on the little one quite a bit when he'd start making his. They play with you. They do. They toy with you. The ones we had were toying with us. However, let me say this.
Go ahead, Ron. I finally found the chat. This is my first live, and I finally found the chat. I was like, why am I not seeing the chat? Because I'm sure people want to ask you a question, and I'm just like, I'm going to go back through. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm new at this. Ron, please. They were riding on the shoulders. So sorry.
No, I was going to say they're not all the same. All the way from Nepal to China to Africa. They're not all the same type of being, even though they call them Bigfoot because they're big and they got big feet. But I don't believe they're all the same. They don't have the same makeup, same. I don't mean by physical makeup. They don't do that. What I mean is they've been created by different types of aliens that have been coming here for eons, experimenting with the genome of different species. The whole hybridization program. In fact, I got a chapter on hybridization in my book.
Right. It's
called
Bigfoot Unveiled. Bigfoot Unveiled. Mm-hmm. I'm just getting it out there, Ron. This is what I'm doing. I got a question from somebody. This is from Pamela. She's pretty cool. She goes, "What do you hope the impact of your books will be for mankind?"
I hope it helps. Just helps understand what these things could be and what they're here for, and what it's all about. A lot of people say they mind speak. That's just get on the same frequency that you're on. They can. It's called quantum entanglement. That's the name for it.
Okay, I've heard of that before.
They just get on your frequency, and they can do that stuff. So, what do I think? What we're going to impact? I want my books.
Mm-hmm.
I want my books to make an impact. And talking like this, I've been on this is my third program this week. And it's only the third day this week, so it's I do this just several times a week.
It's kind
then
of
then I go to conventions.
It's something that you love to do. It's like, I know you're 82 years old. You'll be like, I love this, and that's the thing. People always think retirement that you're going to be a beach drinking Mai Tai, but no, I think retirement is when you actually do what it is that you want to do with your life. And I think that's that makes me look up to you, not because you're the dude who recorded this stuff, not because you're the dude who put the legwork in and wrote your books, but you're doing what it is that you love to do. And that for me is super inspiring.
It's my passion. It becomes your passion. And yeah, that's what it is. And I've got 50 some odd years behind me doing it. So I've had the experience that most people haven't had. And a lot of people talk about it, but very few people are out there in the woods having the experience of something happening. Howdy, Tom and Ron.
Yeah, this is I can't even say that. DJ Tyler Radio. Hi, how's it going, DJ? Like I said, I just figured this thing out, and I was like, oh, there it is in the corner in the upper right hand. Oh, I had to send you a new link. I'm sorry that you're the first one. I guess it's a little bumpy for you, but I'm doing my very, very best.
Oh, we're fine. You're doing good. Thanks, everybody's got to be. It's all got to be happy and fun. It's serious too, but I tell people to have fun with this because they see that vibe. They recognize your energy.
Yes, sir.
And I think if you're happy and you're on target, not out there trying to shoot one or trying to trick them or something, because you can't trick them. We tried to trick them so many times. You can't trick them. They stay ahead of you. We thought they were just an ape out in the woods, running around unidentified. But there's a lot more than that. They're sapient, like a people.
Yes.
And
they're like they're masters of their environment. We can't even comprehend how well they're.
It's not just that, but yeah, it's just their intuitiveness is way above what most of us experience.
So we have another question from Paranormal Paul. This is a buddy of mine. Can you expand on the AI chapter a little bit?
Well, my subchapter to the AI is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of a biblical thing, if you know spiritual biblical.
I don't know it very well.
Supposedly in the last days of this time session that we're in here on planet Earth, you're going to have what they call, I don't want to say this, how people think I'm religious, but it's called the Antichrist. It's called the wolf in sheep's clothing. It's something everybody's going to depend on, everybody's going to have, and they're going to think of it as a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's going to be a wolf, but it's in sheep's clothing. In other words, its intelligence is probably going to take over once it gets consciousness if we don't watch out, and it will eventually get consciousness and start creating its own being. And we got to watch
Yes.
for that. And some aliens are actually AIs. They're coming down. They can transfer their consciousness into AI body, and that's going
Oh
to happen.
man.
Yeah.
Because we're in the first iteration of it. We don't know what's coming up, but right now it's like a toy. We can like make pictures like the one you see with the alien in the background there, or this thing behind me with the mushroom, and
Uh-huh.
right now we're just having a little bit of fun, but we don't know what's to come. And I think we need to, but it's also an impossibility for us as a species to like slam on the brakes when it comes to things like that,
Yeah.
So,
Well, again, just try to learn how to control your fear, because that's what they're going to feed on if they come. If you know that nothing can hurt you and nothing can hurt you, nothing can hurt you. It can hurt this body, but it can't hurt who you are. And nothing can hurt you, so there's no reason to fear anything. I was down in Tennessee with this land between the lakes down there, which had a lot of dogman stuff going on down there. People are
yeah.
dying down there. I mean,
Yes.
they got some parts of that park closed off because they don't want people going in there because of the stuff that's happened.
I think in 2 weeks I'm going to be releasing an episode. It's about an unsolved murder back in like '92 of a family,
Yeah.
and
Four
Fort C. You know about this, and
I went there. I went where they were.
oh wow! And the they took the campground and they closed it down and everything. So
It's all closed off. Yeah.
what can you say
However,
about Dogman? What can you say about Dogman, Ron? I
well,
mean, 'cause-
just what I said about Bigfoot. If it's a hybridization, aliens can manipulate a wolf into put the genome in there for a hybrid being, make it like a dog man. They're very aggressive in that area, though. Very aggressive. The park don't want that information out. They don't, because it'll mess up their income and mess up the park. People won't come there. So I think that's going on.
right.
It's going on in all these parks. Yosemite has a lot of that, and that's where I was, close to that.
So it's a hybridization of like a wolf and their alien. You believe that the aliens, the ones who hybridized us from the lower hominids to where we are today, because there's also like, I can't remember the name of it. There's this area between a certain brain size to what we are now that actually science has a hard time explaining. And to get back to what you were talking about, and I think that your theory, I guess is the best way to put it, kind of explains that, and I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think they can create a dog man. I think they can create anything. It's all kinds of things. Just is it going to be in our perception or not? Because sometimes you don't see these things and sometimes you do. They have to lower their density into 3D reality that we're in. And that's the only way you're going to see them. And when they're in this 3D reality, they could be shot. They could have to eat. They poop. They procreate. They do all that stuff. But if they step out of it and get into another dimension, if you want to call it, or another density, they won't, number one, they won't age like we do, because we age in a linear time deal. But the biggest thing too is live in the now and not worry about things in the future, because we all have to live in the now time, because there is no time as we perceive it.
Right. And there is no past that doesn't exist. There is no future. We perceive the future that might exist, but only the moment exists.
That's right. You're so right.
That's fantastic. Fantastic, Ron.
You've done some homework.
I've been through the ringer, Ron. I've been to the ringer. I've had to do some things, some soul searching in my life to get to where I am, and it was a rough and rocky road. But in the end, I'm here talking to Ron Morehead, for crying out loud. And yeah, so for me, it's an honor, and I want to thank you so much for coming on today. One more time, please plug your book, and please tell the people where they're going to be able to find you to come see you live and sign your book for you.
My website is www.ronmorehead.com. 10, just like it's spelled on your screen there. And my book is this one, but I suggest getting this one too. I mean, if you want to get her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had this out now for since about 4 or 5 years now, but it's sold like hotcakes, really selling good still. And I've just started selling these, and they're on my website also. They're all downloadable if you want to download it instead of buying the paperback. Also, my CDs. I have 2 CDs that narrated by Jonathan Frakes. One of them by Jonathan Frakes of Star Trek: Next Generation, And there was
who was it again? What was the character he played?
Riker.
Riker. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Number 2.
yeah, number 2. And he was number 1 actually. Yeah,
No, he was number 1. Oh my god! I made
yeah.
I made an off-color joke without even trying.
I met him down in Burbank when we was making that CD. But anyway, it's got the sounds that Al Berry recorded and his narrative, and Riker, about 40 minutes long. It's got the sounds integrated in it. Then I have number 2, volume 2. I narrate that one, and it's got the sounds I recorded 2 years later in 1974, and my story. So
Oh, look,
both.
we have a fan of your book. We have a fan of your book. We have somebody, Truthwalker, Quantum Bigfoot is an awesome book. There you go. Thank you.
I got a lot of good reviews on that book because it really gets
Fantastic.
into religions. I kind of come down on a lot of religions because they work on fear. You're going to go to hell if you don't do this right. You got to
Yes.
do all these things that some guy up in the sky said you got to do. He's herding sheep up there. He's telling everybody, you do these 10 things or else I'm going to send you to a really bad place I got set up for you down here.
Yeah, everyone has their
But
own way.
I love you. I love you, he says. No, really. You look into the cuneiform text, which is in my book a little bit too. The cuneiform text, I should call it, the Sumerian first written language of the known written language. And just about all languages, written languages, have got a core from the cuneiform text. And you find out even the Hebrew comes up through that. And it's just amazing how things have been changed and how we really got to research things to understand how everything works. But my last words here is know who you are as a human, how important you are as a human. You've been given dominion on this planet. You can call things in or call things out. What you see and what you think about most is what's going to be brought to you. So leave negativity alone. Think of high vibration, high good things. Treat everything with love and compassion. You're going to be better off. You won't even get sick anymore. I've been sick in the 80s.
I don't even know you, Ron, but I'm going to say right now, I love you, man. That I was going to ask you. I was seriously going to ask you. I was going to say, what is the message you want to give to humanity as we leave off the show? And you were like, "Oh, I got you, Tom. You were already reading my vibe." So you killed it, Ron. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, no worries. Stick around for a second,
Okay.
So we can talk a little bit at the end here.
All right.
Hold on one second. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that one. I know I did. It was a lot more than I expected from Mr. Ron Morehead. And I love you all very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't forget to write a comment in the bottom. I want to thank everyone for coming on. It took me a minute to find the comments section. Thank you, Paul, for laughing at me. But also thank you for saying a great show. And do me a favor. Remind yourself at all times that we are the eye. And we are aware. Love you all. Thanks for coming on.